Morning. Okay, welcome today. My name's Lisa Renee from the Collaborative Press, and today I have Karin Thompson, an Australian author who's written My Journey into Enjoying My Life and Encouragement for a Weary Soul. Now, Karin actually doesn't have an Australian accent, but she is Australian. So when you hear her speak, she doesn't speak exactly like me. So welcome today, Karin. How are you over there in Sydney, Australia?
Thank you so much. No, we're really doing well. Thank you.
Great. So your accent is a combination, perhaps. What's your roots?
So I'm born in New Zealand. I spent a lot of my life in South Africa, went back to New Zealand, and now I'm living in Australia.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So we can hear the South African accent's quite strong there. Okay. So you were inspired to write your story. So you have your testimony, and you have some childhood experiences, and then as an adult you realized there were some things that were coming back to you from the past that you thought that you probably had dealt with, and it was affecting your life. So this is we're talking about your first book, My Journey into Enjoying My Life. So can you just tell me, if you don't mind, just a little bit of a background for our viewers about inspiration and for writing the book in the first place?
Yeah, sure. So I had an abusive childhood, and my whole goal was just to leave home and get away from it and be free from it. But unbeknownst to me, when I left, I actually took it all with me. I didn't take my dad physically with me, but he was in my head, he was in my lifestyle. I treated myself the same way that he was treating me. And I realized that things were wrong in my life and I had to change them. I wasn't living as a proper Christian. I wasn't having Christian behaviors. I had bad thought patterns. And God totally healed me and restored me and saved me. And I just wrote this book to help other people that are come from an abusive past. I wrote the book to encourage them and to show them that there is life after an abusive past, and there is hope for a glorious future. And that's why I call the book My Journey to Enjoying My Life, because I now do enjoy my life, whereas for many, many years I did not.
Okay, so I guess, like, you probably, as a Christian, and you told me that you've became a Christian at 12, and then so as a young adult you're married, and you probably thought that you'd forgiven. Did you obviously, as a Christian, you even though someone doesn't deserve forgiveness, we choose to forgive. So but then so when you started having children, just tell me a bit about that, how there were some remnants of your past, sort of like you realized those habits were coming into your parenting. Do you want to share about that?
Yeah, I found, you always say you're never going to do what your parents do, and lo and behold, you do. And I was so surprised that I started treating my kids the way that I was treated. I had a temper. I mean, I became a mini version of what I'd been through. And I didn't like it. I didn't like who I was. And I started to see fear in my kids' eyes when they were so small. And I know how afraid I was of my father. And that's when I cried out to God and said, Lord, help me. I don't know how to stop being so angry. I don't know how to control myself. I was just so out of control. And that's when he gave me systems and principles to operate and to get free from it.
Right. Awesome. So now I like how you've titled it My Journey, because it is a journey. It doesn't, I mean, sometimes there are miracles that things happen instantly, habits are taken away instantly, but our salvations, we work out our salvation, and often there's a journey about overcoming, and sometimes it's like an onion with the layers. So just tell me a bit, how long do you think that you're working on this? Obviously it's not every single day you're working on it, but how long did it take to see those changes? And do you want to talk to us a bit about the process?
Yes, the process takes as long as you are fighting it. Sometimes change is very painful, and you want to sweep a lot of it under the carpet and just forget about it, but all it does is start to smell. For me to curb my temper, I must say, took a couple of months. The Lord told me to count to 10. whenever the kids did something wrong or I had to deal with something, I would just get into such a violent rage. And 10 didn't help. I used to end up counting sometimes 5,000. I used to just go in my room and sit there and just count until I cooled down, until I could get back into my normal mode of thinking and think clearly. And then I realized a lot of it was just, me overreacting, or it was actually much ado about nothing. It took a process of time. And each time I got something healed and got on top of it, there was another layer of onion, like you say, that had to be exposed. So you're never perfect. There's still even today's times when memories will come back and I might find the tears come to me. But it was a process. It did take a number of years, only because I had to do the journey and I had to face things and I had to deal with the hurt and the anger and the frustration. So God leads you on your journey, but you actually do the leading, because he heals you according to how you let him heal you. And some days, you just say, no, we're not doing this anymore. And I'm not going to, that room you can have everything else, but you can't have that part of my life. And so you don't want to admit that you have flaws. You don't want to admit that, you aren't this wonderful person that you'd like to be. All of us have things that we are dealing with, and some are not nice issues. But you're never free until you do deal with them. This is the thing, until you start saying to yourself, look, I want to be a better me. You have to start poking around in those little rooms that you rather kept the door closed.
So, oops, I just popped out of the room for a second on a different screen. So, so it is hard to actually, confront those things, because we can just remain busy. We can remain busy in our lives and active and try to suppress, what's going on, what's all the deep stuff. So, I mean, I've heard people explain it like it's like an iceberg. You can see the tip of the iceberg and everything's all squashed down under the surface, and then one little knock, and then, it comes out. So, and
I think you're very surprised when you see how much is under the surface, because there's a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Sounds scary. But like you said, it is worth it. You know what I mean?
Totally.
On the other side, and to have that freedom. So, and how do you, so you felt God sharing, saying you should write a book about this. Tell me a little bit about your decision to write a book, because I've spoken to you before, you only share your story to one-on-one individuals if it's necessary, that it's something that you can help them with, but it's not something that you broadcast in the past. So just share this passion, this desire that you felt compelled to write this book.
Yeah, I had a real stirring inside. I just knew there was something God wanted me to do, but I just couldn't put my finger on it. I was doing a lot of praying and seeking God, and then I went to a conference, and the guy said to us, imagine you're looking down at yourself at you're 90 years old. What would you say to yourself? And I just heard the Lord say to me, not an audible voice, but in my heart, that you were an accomplished author. And I thought, I never thought of writing. And I said to him, what would I write? And he says, and straight away he told me the title of the book, My Journey to Enjoy My Life. I want you to share with others how you got victory over an abusive past, how you cleared your mind from the thoughts, because what happens is you live in a default pattern. So the abuse becomes all your thought patterns. Everything sort of filters through that type of thoughts. So you have to retrain yourself and remold yourself into the image of Christ, and his thoughts become your thoughts. And so I've done that. I've learned how to really come out the other side. I don't have any animosity. I don't have feelings anymore. I really am really free. And I wanted to share that. I wanted to tell people, because often when you talk to people have such horrendous problems, have horrendous history. And it's like they carry this bag with them everywhere they go, and you meet that person and you meet the bag, and you want to say to yourself, you can be free from it. You don't have to have this heaviness and this oppression. And that's why I wrote the book, My Journey to Enjoy My Life. I wrote it to encourage people and tell them, there's hope. There is really hope, and I'm living proof of it. There's hope that tomorrow can be bright. You can smile, and you can actually think of the past and have no tears anymore, no recollections. It's just freedom.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so people can look on Karin's website, and we'll talk about that in a moment, and Amazon, and you can look at the preview, you can read a few of the pages. There's a beautiful foreword from her husband. It's a beautiful testimony. I just cried at the end of it.
Oh, did you? Everybody does, honestly.
It's so sweet. Anyway, and let's briefly talk about your second book you released recently, Encouragement for a Weary Soul. So that has a different structure to it, more of sort of like of a devotional style. So you have chapters and some prayer time sort of at the end and space for people to take notes. Is that right? Tell me a bit about what your the purpose is for that one.
So I've got the same sort of book cover, but in a brighter color. So this book was more like I'm sitting with a friend, we're having a nice cup of coffee, and you've got a problem. And I'm just, because I'm a bit older and wiser, I'm just sitting there and giving you some old-fashioned good advice, I believe. So, maybe about finances, maybe about rebellious children, maybe about low self-esteem, maybe about, you don't feel your faith is working, forgiveness, all the basic everyday subjects I've sort of covered. And I've just sort of given you a bit of advice, a bit of scriptures. Then I've written out a prayer where I pray with you, and then I've left you with a bunch of scriptures where you can sort of do some study. And and most of it is very how to not sort of just sort of out there. I want to try and give you advice where you've got some actions to take and something that gives you some hope and some results. So you feel like you sort of got some good advice, and now how to step forward and move on from where you are. So maybe help you get unstuck, which is what I wanted to do. Awesome. So it's like a pep talk. So you're feeling weary, you're feeling overcome by this monstrous problem about finances or your marriage, and I just sit down and say to you, hey, this is what I should suggest you do. This is maybe today, why don't you just stop buying the coffee and save some money, and just some good advice.
Great. Okay, so that sounds easy reading, casual, relationship based, and I'm sure people can reach out to you, contact you through the website and start a conversation.
Yes,
they're needing a bit of, prayer, and so you're open to that. So now your name is Karin with an I.
Yeah, Karin, yeah.
Thompson with a H. So spell out your website. It's
Karin Thompson, so it's KarinThompson.com.
Great. So we'll put that in. We'll upload this to YouTube and put those links on there. So so you I call you Karin, like Australian accent. Is that, do people call you Karin?
I'll forgive you because I'm a Christian.
So how do you say, all this time I've been thinking Karin, how do you say it?
It's Karin.
Karin. Okay, and your friends,
there you go.
Australian friends say Karin.
Yes.
Right, okay. Yes. All right, now we know.
No worries.
No worries, that's an Australian saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so you launched this book, and obviously there's been some, with the COVID restrictions and things like that. You've had to do mainly stuff online, but you are open to doing talks or chats and things, mothers groups.
Absolutely.
Or that kind of stuff in Australia now. Things are opening up a bit more in Sydney.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Great. Okay then. Well, we won't. We've been going for 17 minutes. We won't keep it on too long, but so if people want to reach out, they can go to the website, search your book on Amazon. We'll post the links, and if anyone wants to comment, we'll put this post on Facebook, and if you want to post some questions to Karin, that's a great opportunity to do that.
Absolutely.
And you've got a newsletter. Do you send out a newsletter monthly or fortnightly?
Every fortnightly I send out a newsletter, sort of, I do a bit of a blog, just encouragement. Mostly I just like to encourage and motivate people in their Christian walks. I do a bit of a blog on that, and I do a bit of a, hello, how are you? How are you coping today? And just I suppose you would say mothering. I just feel for people because, especially in the season we're in, people get discouraged and despondent, and I just want to let them know that Jesus loves them, he cares about them, and there is hope. We've got to just hold fast to close to him and hold on to him, and he is our answer to every question.
Awesome. Yeah, and I love it as an author when I send out a newsletter and people reply, you know, occasionally, you know, and that's really great, you know, and then I can get to know my readers. And some like, oh, that word that you like, I mean, I don't share a devotion every time, but sometimes I'll share something about, you know, parenting or something, and yeah, oh, this came at the right time, and you know, and you can have a conversation one-on-one. So as authors, we're open to that, and we love to hear from our readers. So so keep in contact, and thank you so much, Karin, for coming on today, and we hope that your readers will be blessed and get a copy of your book, and if they're in Australia, you can contact Karin and get a signed copy. She can post that out to you, or you just order online and paperback or ebook. Okay, thanks, Karin.
All right.
God bless.
Thank you very much. See you then. Bye.
Bye.